Good morning. Now, you all know that I have that embedded Baptist in me, right? It's there. And sometimes it comes out. I have that unity, but I have that Baptist. And today is one of those to let it flow. Is your living in vain? I can't hear you. No. Wow. Miss Daisy, Cynthia, Brenda, Tyler, Unique, and Ryan, y'all did the thing, didn't they? Let's give them another round of applause. That was so awesome. Good morning, everyone, and so grateful for the opportunity to connect again with you here in this space as we continue our spiritual journey. But we're going to put it on pause for just a moment because it's somebody's Earth Day. I call it Earth Day because he was here before time, right? And it's the day, the time that he incarnated on this space. So, Reverend Glenn, happy Earth Day to you. We're here to celebrate and make you the king for the day. We want you to feel all the love and the positive energy that is surrounding you here in this space. Is your living in vain? That was for you. We're going to go on with our day. We're going to go to the next one. Our title is Powered by the Will of God. And Reverend Glenn has taught us how to play on words and create these acronyms so our will is not W-I-L-L, it's W-H-E-E-L. But hold on to that. So who are we? I like to always give the claim who we are. Unity. Unity is New Thought Movement. We are a global, inclusive spiritual community offering practical tools and uplifting resources to help people of all faith apply positive spiritual principles in their daily lives. It is practical Christianity. What did I say? And what does that mean? It means how do you apply the lessons and the information to your life now, not 2,000 years ago. How is it now? And it's based on the what? Now, Renaissance Unity is part of that movement. And here is what we say about our community. Renaissance Unity is a welcoming spiritual community focused on your spiritual growth and development. And we have 8 core values or more. I'm only going to present 2 here because they're long. And I invite you to go to our website and read them. First one presence, one power. There's only one presence, one power active in the universe and through my life, God, the good, omnipotent, absolute love as the substance, source, and the supply of all existence. This one presence and power may go by many names. God's Spirit, the I am source, but any name is the same. Next one, divine expression. Read this with me. We are spiritual beings. All exists is the manifestation, form, and activity of spirit. Every living thing is made in the image and likeness of God and is capable of awakening to this realization as well as giving expressions to the qualities of unconditional love, compassion, wisdom, peace, and creativity. That is you. Today's message is going to be an eclectic approach to understanding our truth. It is going to be the foundation of this talk, what direction we're going in, and what we have been engaged in. And as we examine the powers of the month, Reverend Glenn has been walking us through a spiritual expedition. I like to think about it as a dig. He taught us how to be paleontologists, dig up old bones, to discover the truth of who we are. We are excavating our truth. Truth that may be buried by layers of debris of human conditions and things and trauma. So we're on this spiritual dig for the faith and strength and wisdom and understanding. And Reverend Glenn has walked us through it. His living is not in vain. For 3 years, when the whole world was on lockdown, every Sunday, without pause, Reverend Glenn was either in his basement at Oakland University, standing out in trees with nature, but delivering a message that would move us through what we were going through, not just as a community, but as a nation and as a world, and he was always there. Remember, he ran into a tree branch, and he had an eye cup patch. Did he stop? He came in with the eye patch on his eye. Is his living in vain? No. This is for you too, Reverend Glenn. I was researching, and I came across this passage from the book of George C. Do you all know who George C. is? George Clinton. Chapter 19, verse 71. And if you recognize it, say it with me. I once had a life, or rather, life had me. I was one among many, or at least I seemed to be. Well, I read in an old quotation in a book just yesterday that said, gonna reap just what you sow. The debts you have, you must pay. Can you what? I can't hear you. Can you get to that? Reverend Glenn, we want to get the funk. What did I say? Funk. Funk. And let me tell you what the funk is. It's faithfully unleashing new knowledge. Look at somebody and say, get the funk. You're going to faithfully unleash the new knowledge. All right. Living. We're going to go on to our next slide. I just had to add that in. You know, I could stand up here and we can sing some of George Clinton's songs. And I know now that as I'm talking, all those songs going to be rolling around in your head. Atomic Dog, P-Funk, Flashlight. Reverend Wilma, did you know? Yes, absolutely. Yes. Are you living? Are you living the life that wants to live in you? That's the question I pose to you. Take a moment and breathe that in. Are you living the life that wants to live in you? What is the life that wants to live in you? What is the life that wants to dwell and be in you? I'm going to say to you, I submit to you, beloved, that the life is already there. It is the power and presence of God. That is the life that wants to live in you. That is the life that wants to express in you. I was having a conversation with a friend, and she's a few years younger than I am. You all know my age. I tell you all the time. I'm not trying to hide it. She was 50-something, right? And she was complaining. She complained that her children were gone. She complained about her job, and so she was going to retire. She was just complaining. What do I do? Why am I here? What is this all about? Now, you know, I had to pause and say, no judgment here. Put on the reverend hat. Let's do some spiritual counseling. And so I said to her, what do you want? What kind of life do you envision? What kind of life do you imagine? Thoreau says that we should live the life that we imagine. And our imagination is not something we created. It is given to us by God. I didn't shift her energy too much. I prayed for her and said that she'll catch up to it. But how many of us have that time in our lives when we wonder, why am I here? What is this all about? Is it time for me to go? I mean, literally go. What is it? Do you feel this tug that there is something more for you to do? Is it there? What are you being called? You are being called to do something. No, you're not too old. No, you're not too young. You know why? Because you are an expression of God. Now, we all stand and, we recite our truth, our affirmation of truth. I am a divine expression of love. I am aware of the presence of spirit in all things. I live consciously and commit to being a light. You say that, right? Do you live it? You don't have to answer. Don't answer. But this is one of those times I want you all to think. And when I talk to you, I talk to myself. Because I'm not void of those opportunities when I'm going, ooh, okay, what next, God? And I forget that I am an expression of God, that I am a messenger of God, and I say that to you. You are here for a purpose. You are here for a reason. You are here to live the life that God has determined for you. You are the individualized consciousness, the presence of God here. Each of you came here with something to do. I was blessed with an opportunity in 1994 to attend the Olympics in Atlanta, Georgia. You all remember that? And my favorite sports is track and field. And I sat and I watched and watched and watched, and I watched all of these athletes perform at the maximum level, becoming the fastest, the best swimmer, the best disc thrower, the best of everything in the whole wide world. And they were all of different creeds and colors and nationalities. They were all representatives of God. I'm reminded that when we speak our truth, when we affirm that who we are, that we are truly representing God. Do you believe that? Do you believe that? I don't hear you. When we affirm every Sunday our truth, it's more than a way of speaking, a recitation of words. It's something we are to embrace and believe that we are the I am, the characteristics, the essence of God, here with a gift and a blessing. No. We are living our lives the way God has prescribed for us. Our music ministry, all of them, Ryan, who plays those keys every single Sunday with surety and knowledge. He is a gift. He's an I am. Because not everybody can play those. How many people can play those? If I went over there, I could go twinkle, twinkle, little star. I wouldn't have been able to belt out what he just did. That was his God-inspired gift. That's what Ryan came here to do. Miss Daisy, her ability to sing, Cynthia, Tyler, Unique, Brenda, all of them came here with a gift, something to do. They're living their lives. They are living according to what God is willing for them. Where are the teachers? Teachers, professors, anybody in education, doctors, nurses, lawyers, attorneys, judges, physical therapists. Anything that you are doing, you have been inspired by Spirit to do, and only you can do it. And if you were not here, guess what? There would be this gap. If Reverend Glenn didn't step up and do what he does for 20,000 people, there would be some people who would be missing out. I had an opportunity. I'm always having opportunities, right? To participate. I was invited to a luncheon. And that luncheon, there are about 15 students, 20 students maybe. But the whole room was filled with adults. Adults. And those adults were there for those students. They were there to move that next generation on. If it wasn't for a young man at the age of 17 who masterminded and said, I want to be in an organization that will be of service to everybody else. You know who I'm talking about, right? Do you know who I'm talking about? Brett Talander. No, he's not here. But he's watching us. Someone looked up and said, where is he? In spirit. I bring that up to say that all of us are here for a reason. We incarnated to this space. And sometimes you may feel like, am I living in vain? No, you're not. You're here for a purpose. You're here to bring something. You are part of this, what do we call it? This system that requires everyone to be present. Move on to the next slide, and it says, don't you know that yourselves are God's temple and that God's Spirit dwells in your midst? Don't you know yourself you are God's temple and that God's Spirit dwells in you? It's in you, not in your midst, but in you. So when you get to talking about yourself, you know who you're talking about, right? Who are you talking about? I can't hear you. Are you talking because you are guilty of it? But that is the truth. When we criticize and we don't give and love on ourselves, we're talking about the God in us. Did y'all can you get to that? Can you get to that? It's the God in us. God's will for us. God's will for us. That we have all that we need. And God will for us to enjoy this world, to be an expression, to be his extension, to be his vine, to bring forth all that needs to be brought forth. So if it's a book in you, if it is an organization in you, if it's a company, it's a business, if it's something that you need to volunteer, something that you need to do, listen, lean in, and let God lead you to it. Don't live in vain. Now, I got another acronym for you if we're going to say vain, right? We won't go with the negative. We'll go to the positive. So vain. I'll come to it later. Vain. Basically being present here, being victorious, understanding, and immersing yourself and nurturing yourself in the empowerment of God. I'll go to the next slide. Will of God. Remember I said I was going to talk about will of God? And I didn't say W-I-L-L. W what? I'm a game show person. I like them. So I thought about Wheel of Fortune, but will of God. And the will of God is the wisdom. Embracing divine wisdom to guide our thoughts, actions, and decisions. It's the harmony, cultivating inner and outer harmony by recognizing our oneness, our allness with the divine. It's enlightenment, awakening our true nature, our spiritual beings, expanding our consciousness to reflect the divine light. Energy. Tapping into this reservoir of divine energy that sustains and empowers us, fueling our spiritual growth and our purpose. And love, expressing unconditional divine love in all interaction, understanding it as the essence of our being in our universe. Are you empowered by the will of God? Helen Keller, if you remember, I just read some of her thoughts. And you remember Helen Keller could not see, nor could she hear. But as I read her biography, I gleaned from that when you listen and you lean in and you follow the will of God, nothing is impossible. You will overcome seemingly obstacles, and you will live the life that God desires for you. I'll ask you again, are you powered by the will of God? And are you living your life? Are you living your life in vain? Are you living the life in the manner that there's a life that wants to live in you? Going to the next slide. So as we move through this time, you know it's affirmation time now, right? You all don't get away without it. I follow my brother, and this is honor to him. So you got to stand. Come on. Up with ya. We have an affirmation. And understand that what you are doing as you speak these words, you are dedicating, you are committing, you're embracing. So let's start together. I will open my heart to divine mind that seeks to come to me and through me. I will trust God's perfect plan for healing and restoration, mind, body, and soul. I will listen to the wisdom of the still small voice within me, which will guide me on my spiritual path. I will vibrate on the frequency that attracts peace and harmony in my life. I will walk in faith, assured that divine order will guide my steps. I will stand confidently with holy boldness, knowing that the God within empowers me with vitality, strength, and courage. I will be a conduit of God's. I will use. Now look at somebody and ask them, can you get to that? Look at somebody else and ask them, can you get to that? Thank you. You may be seated.